Hello, we are ready to begin cigar box guitar number 2. Except this one will be done with a cookie tin that we are looking at here. This cookie tin is about 3 inches deep, 8 inches across, and 11 inches long. We're going to start to work on the neck tonight. Here it is. We're laying it out. I'm going to cut it 5 inches from here to here, about a 1/4 inch down. Then I plan to put some design work into here and then maybe roll it off here where the nut would go. A little bit different than we did on cigar box guitar number 1. Parts are on order and they will be here soon when we can really take off and go with the project. For this project, I went off to one of the local antique stores where they had a box of skeleton keys and old keys, and I picked up about a dozen. These will be used for different things such as the nut, the bridge, maybe even down to hold the guitar strings, especially on ones like this where you see the 3 holes going across. Excellent there for like holding the strings. And then I would have to bring them up over the bridge and then into the nut. So we're going to see how this goes. This one here you can see is flat instead of round. And so if this goes across the neck, such as this, a perfect fit right like that, strings will come across here. This is going to look really cool. And this is the one right there I am planning to use on this guitar. So now it's off to the boring stuff, which is cutting off the headstock here. This will take me quite a while to do it, as I'll be using a coping saw to make the slice, and we'll get back when we have the headstock cut. Alright, looking at the headstock, the rough cut of the cutout notch here is complete. It's like 5 inches long this time and about a 1/4 inch down. Now it's time to get the sandpaper and the file and all that to clean it up, smooth it all out, and then from there we'll put in the designs and other things that I like to do for the headstock this time. I am back and we are ready to continue on the cigar box guitar and the next steps. What I have now on the screen is my Resonator. This is an aluminum spun Resonator bought from CBG Cigar Box Guitar Company, and it is spun aluminum. It is known as the Lightning. It's about 5 inches across this way, I guess more like 5, and then in about a 1/2 inch here on the lip. And so with that, you have a cover that will go over it. Will look like that when it is done. And then on top of here will sit what they call a biscuit, and then the bridge, which the strings will go across. Vibrates down through, sound comes out. Now over here, and I forgot to show how I went about doing this, is the top or the box of the guitar. We have cut out a hole in here. What I did is I put the cover here inside, measured it up in the center, drew a line around it, took the center point, took a compass. It was actually my grandfather's old compass, drew the other circle in here, and then carefully took a utility knife, scribed out that circle, and then using just a regular hammer, just tap on that utility knife all the way around. It's a little of a lengthy process, but then that gives you a nice clean hole of the right size. And so the next steps will be to clean up those jagged edges. We will put the Resonator in like this. The lid part will go on the cover, we'll drill holes through here, and then we'll put some nice fancy bolts in there and bolt that to the lid. So let's continue on the cleanup and getting this ready to go. Okay, now we're going to be working on the neck. We can see that I've got it cut now from here all the way down to about here. It's about 29 inches. What I want is from about this point down here to where I have it marked to be 18, because when I put the nut on, it'll be up in here. It'll be about 17.5 inches on the actual neck. So when I take the body of the guitar and I put it on, we can see how it's lining up with the mark. Now the next thing to do is to get this lined up exactly right. Mark off in here and here, and then I want to scoop out the inside portion of this wood so that the resonator, once it sits in here, the body of the resonator then can sit smoothly in there without touching the wood. That's probably about a 1/2 inch that I'm going to have to scoop out in there, and once I have that done, the actual neck itself here is 3/4 of an inch thick, so I'll have maybe about a 1/4 inch remaining. That is the goal. That is what we'll work on next, and we'll get back soon. Okay, I'm ready to start making my cuts on the handle or the neck for the resonator to fit in. So I've got a mark here, a mark here where I set the resonator on there. Mark those out. The idea is I scoop this area out kind of like this, and everything should fit in very nicely. So here goes. Alright, here is the resonator sitting on the neck of the guitar, and the whole idea, hopefully we can see this in here appropriately, that it is just barely floating there. I may trim a little bit more wood out because I don't want it really touching other than just the lip on it, and otherwise it should all be just free floating in there so I get the best resonance. Alright, since our last meeting I have stained the neck now. It's called American Standard. I have drilled the holes here for the for all the hardware, the tuning hardware, and they don't fall out. There they go. I have placed in the little bushings for them as well. So once you drill your hole all the way through, which is probably, you can do that a little less than a 1/4, and then it's a 5/16 to put the bushings in. That one does not have to go all the way through. When threading up your mounting your hardware here, your tuning hardware, gear goes toward the body of the guitar. So the next thing to do is drill in these little tiny holes here and get the screws in, and then we'll have the hardware all mounted. Alright, since I was on here the last, we've got all of our tuner pegs all in place. Everything's ready to go there. You can see here for my nut, I am using an old skeleton key I got at an antique store. I have taken the key, it fits very nicely going across. What I did is I notched it in with using the coping saw. I put the key in place, scored down the side with a razor knife, and then took the coping saw and cut out that little notch, and then had to sort of chisel in, of course using little tiny screwdrivers to get the key to fit. Then I took a hacksaw blade from a sawzall. You can see little notches in here, here and over here, and with that, just using my hand, just taking it back and forth with short strokes to cut in the notches. That's where the strings will go. Also, I have taken the tail piece down here, and we've got it set. It came in straight. What I did is I measured up 1.5 inches this way, that way, put a piece of tape across it, wrapped the cloth around this end, put it in a vise, and then bent it over. So I can bend it a little bit more if I needed to, or bend it up. We'll adjust it as I need to. And then I have a piece of wood on the handle that went down inside of here, and this is now screwed into that piece of oak wood that's inside the box. So with that, we're down to the last step, and that is putting the strings on, getting it tuned, and seeing what we have. So here goes. And here we are with finished product of cigar box guitar number 2, made out of a cookie tin with a resonator. And what I didn't realize when I was making this is that I was going to get a nice good bass guitar sound out of it. Listen to this. So I may want to go in and restring it with some smaller strings in the bass range here, but I'm going to play with it a little bit and see what I really think.